I'll go ahead and open with the Lord's Prayer in the Aramaic tongue, and then I'll go. I'll show you some things, or maybe later in the talk. So for now, if you take a minute and close your eyes and listen to the words of Jesus as he taught his apostles and disciples how to pray. أود وشمية نتقداش شماخ تأثي ملكوتاخ نهوي سويانخ إكنا دوشمية أبرآ حاولا لحمة سنكان يومنا واشلق لان حوبين إكنا داب حنان شلق لحيوين ولا تعمل نسيونا إلا قصا من بيشة مثل دي لاخي ملكوثة حي لو تشبحت العالم عالمين آمين. Well, thank you for joining me on Wednesday night. Dr. Erica was going to do the session, but he's not feeling 100%, so he asked me to jump in and do this. And luckily, I'm still in the same space I was in last week. So if you were with me last week, you know, I spoke about peace and how peace really has lost, the word itself has lost a lot of its power. It's one of the most powerful words that is in all of the languages, and it means so much. And it was so core. It probably was the core. Jesus spoke about the kingdom, but the kingdom was going to bring peace on earth. But Jesus was realistic. And I'm going to go to Luke. Actually, let me start with Luke. So this is Luke in the beginning. Luke chapter 2, verse 14. Actually, I'll go before that. Last time I shared with you how when John the Baptist was born, he was expected to bring peace. And our feet, he will guide our feet into the way of peace. Now, just few verses later, of course, we have chapters and so forth. Let me switch to my glasses. These are kind of glary. We have chapters and verses. When these were written, they were scrolls most likely, and they had no separations, no number. But this helps us kind of find the place quickly. So here we're talking about, for the day, this is chapter 2, verse 11. For this day is born to you in the city of David a Savior, who is Christ the Lord. And this is a sign for you. You will find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes and lying in a manger. And suddenly there appeared with the angel a heavenly host, praising God and saying, so this is the announcement of the birth of Jesus, glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace and good hope for men. This is important. So now I'm going to jump to Luke and go into chapter 12. Now, this is Jesus is teaching and doing all these things. And in chapter 12, which I touched on a part of it last time, but in a similar manner. So this is kind of diving deep into what Jesus was coming into and what was he going to be dealing with. He's saying, I came, so this is the guy who's supposed to bring peace and hope to all men or to all humanity. But here he says, and listen to this carefully, I came to set the earth on fire, and I wish to do it if it has not already been kindled. You hear that? So Jesus knew that he's coming into a situation where the Jewish people were divided. The the Romans were in power, and they ruled with power and authority and oppression. And if you took their side, you were okay. If you crossed them, you were punished. And this was all over earth. So Jesus did not come into this peaceful world where everybody is hunky-dory and happy with one another, and there is no conflict. But he wanted to shake up things. He knew that we needed awakening. Same exact scenario that plays in every life that we have in our time, in the past, and I guarantee you it will be in the future. So there might be a time where the kingdom rules everything, but Jesus was very realistic in saying the world is always in turmoil. And what I bring here is I'm bringing a different type of turmoil. Okay, so he says here, this is the next verse is about what's bothering him. I have a baptism to be baptized with, and I'm oppressed until it is fulfilled. So now we know. Remember, I said this is, he's already been feeling resistance, and he's already been aware that there is opposition that's building up against his movement. So here he's feeling that I'm probably going to end up like all the prophets, and I'm going to be most likely killed or punished for my ministry, though I'm coming here to bring peace. And that really weighed on him. So, and that's why not all of Jesus's talks were we see Jesus Christ in his white robe floating around Galilee. That's part of the image that people want to have of Jesus. This is the man Jesus, the prophet Jesus, who walked Galilee. He was realistic. He knew that he was coming to do something that's going to change the world. And the trick to Jesus's peace, when I spoke last week, I did not get in like specifically saying that, is that the peace that Jesus's way gives us, his teachings, if you follow them, you will have an eternal peace. That's the peace of Jesus. Okay, Jesus did not. I spoke about ceasefire, which is supposed to bring peace. He never said, he said, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Because most of our trouble today and in Jesus' time and before and will be after is who controls earth, who controls the land. And who does Jesus tell us will always inherit the earth? The meek. Okay, nations come and go. Right now we're fighting battles to get resources. Now we used to fight over gold and diamond, and now gold is still important because all our devices, this stuff, my computer, your TV, your car, we're all now about these unique minerals and resources in earth that we are fighting over. That's why the Ukraine war is going on. That's why there is a race between us and China and other countries, Russia, in Africa, to get control over these specific minerals, because now they're controlling the day-to-day life, the monitors, the air conditioning units, everything is now electronic. Our hearing aids. So we want to control earth. Jesus's way says the meek will inherit the earth. So you can't take it by power. And we continue to do power. He said, blessed are the peacemakers, because he knew conflict was always going to be there and we always need peacemakers, for they will be known as the children of God, because God wants peace. God created earth and loved it and gave it so many resources and then told us to take care of it. There is plenty for all of us, but some of us want to control that. Jesus never said, blessed are the ceasefire makers, for their peace will not last. That would have been Jesus. their peace does not, ceasefire is based on power. It's based on somebody having the upper hand and dictating terms and agreeing to terms. That's not the peace that we need today. We need true peace. So he continues the same things I read you last week. Hopefully most of you were with me. For from henceforth there will be 5 in a house who will be divided, 3 against 2 and 2 against 3. So house to house, do we have that today? Are we feeling that today? Unfortunately, most of our divisions are left and right. We need to be Jesus-like. We can't be left and we can't be right. We need to be the middle. We always need to be the middle. We need to bring people together. So I'm not saying change your political alliances. I'm not saying change your political ideology. But if you are to belong to the kingdom, and if you want to experience everlasting peace, the peace of the ministry of Jesus, the peace of the kingdom, then you will have that division. But that division will be a different type of division. It will be a division of doing the right thing all the time, of saying the right thing all the time, and maybe not saying much, of loving all the time, of forgiving all the time. So that's how we bring peace, not by oppression. It's really unfortunate because Jesus talks. Let me continue. I talked to you about father will be divided against son, and son against father, and daughter against mother, and mother against daughter, and daughter-in-law, and etc. And he said to the people, when you see the cloud rise from the west, you immediately say it will rain. And so it is. So, and it's, why the west? Why with Jesus? Because he was in Palestine, and west is the Mediterranean, and that's where the cloud came from, that carried rain. And then he said, and when the wind blows from the south, you say it will be hot. And it is so, because it's coming from the Sahara, from the south is the Sahara. And that brought sand and haboobs and so forth, and turned the area into heat and not a very pleasant situation. O you hypocrites, you know how to discern the face of the earth and of the sky, and then it is that you do not discern this time. So we spend our time predicting. We can predict weather, and we get it right most of the time, but we can't get over this problem. See how relevant his message is to us as it was 2,000 years ago to the people of his land and the people who actually interacted with him. That's why his message lives, because we continued all the same exact patterns. Our weather forecasts are great, but we still, right before the weather comes on TV, what do we see? We see people within the same country attacking each other. We see people from other countries attacking different countries. We see ceasefires, and we see weapon deals, and we see greed stories. And a lot of it can be depressing. But if you follow the kingdom, you don't let that noise get to you. You don't get depressed. You put on your kingdom clothes, you put on your kingdom face, which he said, when you are in the kingdom, even if you're fasting, you maintain, you wash, and you don't let people know that you're fasting. Because people who fasted at his time, and to this day, people who fast today, more often than not, you look at them and go like, oh, are you fasting? Because they look so sad and unhappy and wanting something. Most people, not all people. But if you're fasting because of your beliefs, because you want to feel with the poor, the true purpose of fasting, you don't show it. You go to work, you work harder than everybody else who's not fasting. That's the Jesus message. So to be consistent and to want to experience that peace, and then when you feel that peace, when you are the peacemaker, when you are the meek, these things don't affect you. They don't change you. They don't make you want to go the wrong way. So that's the power of the kingdom. When you practice it, when you start your day knowing that I am in the kingdom and nothing can faze me, no news, no comment from somebody in the office, no driver on the freeway on my way to work. No, nobody can faze me. No, somebody, mean in a business or not customer friendly, whatever. Nothing fazes me. Nothing makes me walk out mumbling and saying, oh, that person, and I put a curse on them, because that's what they did in the East. And we, in a way, we do. We sometimes curse them and put a curse on them, or want to. We shouldn't be that way. Those people need a hug. They need love. They need a great customer that picks them up and make them feel better. So this is Jesus talking to them about you're wasting your time on the weather and feeling so happy that you saw clouds from the west. That's trivial. We need to solve the real problems. Why do you not of yourselves judge what is right? Remember his judgment. It's the God-like judgment. God's judgment is love, is care for all humanity, not the way we judge. Then he talks about the judges and the accusers and so forth. I don't want to go into that. But I want to go into John chapter 16. I think I put a marker in it. Yeah. John chapter 16, 29 through 33. I was going to go over that last time and I didn't. And his disciples said to him, "Behold, how you speak plainly and do not utter a single figure. Now we understand that you know everything, and you need no man to ask you. By this we believe that you have come forth from God." So remember, the disciples were constantly questioning the whole thing and had different dreams and different ideas. Jesus said to them, "Believe, for behold, the hour is coming, and it has now come, when you will be dispersed, every man to his own country, and you will leave me alone. And yet I am never alone, because the Father is with me." Remember, when Jesus was captured, his followers scattered, all the ones who said, "We'll be right by your side," including Peter, the main guy at the time. So they all scattered, and when he died, they all went back to Galilee. So he was very aware of how things are going to play out and what happens when a leader of a movement gets captured and killed. The movement loses its way. And we lost our way. Some people maintained, and thank goodness we still have some of the original way of thinking of Jesus, but a lot of Christianity today is totally lost. I mean, we lost our way about justice. We take political stance. We in our churches, we talk about countries and political systems. We lost our way. And across the way, a lot of Christian churches use Eastern teachings, Eastern as in like Hinduism and Buddhism and Book of the Dead, and they can't they don't understand this anymore. And yet when I'm reading it, hopefully it's making sense to you. Jesus was predicting what the world is going to be like, and what it was in his time, and yet we have a hard time going that way. Christianity today has a hard time finding this and understanding it. And yes, it has a lot of East in it, and you need to come at it from an Eastern perspective. That's his DNA. That's Jesus's DNA. And he was born, that's why he said the West. Some people who live on the East Coast, they see clouds coming from the east. And that tells them a storm is coming off the Atlantic. But he had the Mediterranean. So we need to understand him in his context, in where he was born, where he was walking. So where was I? John. So he's talking to his disciples, and he said, "I always have the Father." So when you are in the kingdom, your source is God. Spirit is with you. Your soul is, and your mental processing, because you're forgiving and loving and practicing the teachings of Jesus, God is always with you. "These things I have said to you, that in me according to my teachings, you may have peace. In the world, you will have tribulation. But have courage, I have conquered the world. See, he's telling them here that my way, my teachings, the way we've been talking all along, the way I gave you the Beatitudes, the Lord's Prayer. The Lord's Prayer is about surrender. It's about faith. It's about staying out of trouble and not dwelling in trouble. It's about not worrying. It's not about possessing. It's about having faith that everything you need is going to be provided. And give us this day our daily bread. Okay? It doesn't say worry about your meal tomorrow. It says, I trust you. The world is full of good people. So what do we do today? Do we fund more food banks to make sure that nobody gets left behind without eating? Do we fund school food programs to help people, that our kids, because they think better, they learn better when they're learning on a full stomach, they sleep better later. Do we do that today, or do we take that away from them and make their parents work harder to provide that? Do we give people free healthcare? In a lot of countries, it is. And yes, it's a trade-off. You pay higher taxes, but you have no worry. The whole country has no worry. Working, not working, injured, not injured. Everybody gets healthcare. We take care of our people, and we take care of people who come to our country to visit us. I had an episode when I was in France a few years ago. I lost consciousness while at the restaurant. They called an ambulance. I went in, they tested me, they checked my vitals. I think I had COVID. They didn't test me for COVID, but and it was a very hot day, and I had done a lot of walking that day and the day before. And then I got up and spoke with the doctor. The doctor said, you seem fine. You don't need the hospital. Go get hydrated and get in bed. And I'm like, that's it? It's like an ambulance? Can you imagine? I live in the States. An ambulance. Some people die because their family won't call an ambulance to come get them because it could be so expensive and so cost prohibitive. I was in a country that took care of not only its people, but people who visited. And I've had similar episodes with friends visiting me, and actually my wife in the Emirates, same thing. She had an episode. We ended up in ER, and the end of it, we walked by the administrator's office, like, okay, anything else? I'm expecting, a calculator and some, for all the things they did for her. That didn't happen. They said, have a lovely stay here, and thank you for visiting our country and being interested in us. Enjoy your visit. Okay, so that's a country that's taking care of its people. So Jesus is that, and that's key to this part of Luke, and that is why I said, in me and my teachings, my peace is lasting peace, but in the world, it doesn't work that way. That's the duality of the life we have to live in. But we can straddle that. See, that the people who follow the teachings of Jesus can exist in the world while living and carrying and not compromising the teachings of the kingdom. And that's the key to true peace. And hopefully between last week and this week, I'm giving you enough of the keys of why Jesus is his teachings are so important. And notice that I'm not saying, except when I read Luke about, the Christ, but he was the anointed one. He was the one to actually show us the way of peace. He was called the Prince of Peace. He was called the Shepherd. I would much rather hear Jesus the Shepherd than Jesus the Christ, because the Christ, just like the word peace, has taken a completely different form and stripped Jesus of Nazareth from the power that he gave us. So now we jump between his birth and his death. That's what Christianity is built on. And then everything that happened after his death, the teachings of Paul, the Acts of the Apostles, because they were administrative. They did not have the power and the clarity that Jesus had in his teachings. He went and reflected for years and years and years before he declared his ministry. And then when he declared his ministry, he went to the desert and asked himself, oh my gosh, now that people know I'm around and I'm coming in as a teacher, and they're going to start asking me questions and following me. What is my ministry going to be about? What am I going to be about? How am I going to be remembered? Am I going to be remembered as the magician who's, touches people and they heal and so forth? And so he was, even in his healing, he was very, very specific in explaining how he healed, and he taught his disciples. So we want to believe it was a miracle every time, but he was teaching his disciples and apostles how to heal, and he sent them on healing missions, and they got frustrated because they had this working, not what they're learning. And eventually they started healing too. So we read in the book of Acts that they started healing too, that they developed that energy and could share it and could bring healing to people who needed healing. So he wasn't about showing off. He wasn't, about to jump from the wall of the city and have angels pick him up. He wasn't going to do stupid things. He knew, if I get in a bad situation, it's on me to get out of it, either by arguing better, because he did argue with the synagogues. One of the episodes I just went over, I think in Luke 13, that he healed a woman on a Sabbath. And we have more than one episode where the religious authority was so much about enforcing the rules of the Sabbath and what you can and can't do on a Sabbath. Jesus broke that rule constantly to prove that compassion, love for humanity, healing should be taking place anytime, all the time. Okay, that trumps everything. Our humanity, our love for one another, and our compassion towards our fellow human beings, regardless of their religion, regardless of the skin color, their gender, their orientation, whatever it is that divides us today, Jesus overcame all of that. And then to make a point, he did a lot of it on the Sabbath, to say even the rules of the Sabbath that you set, humans set, do not apply to the rules of God, which is compassion and love. That's the power of his teachings. And that's why he constantly talked to his apostles about these things. So I'm going to ask you to, is there anybody with any questions? If you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A. And if not, I have a nice surprise for you. So I'll give you a minute so we don't change subjects. And if not, I'm going to share with you a video, a little, 1 minute really, a presentation of my travels since I've been gone, and I've been telling you about that. And I'm seeing no questions. So, okay, if you have no questions, let me go ahead and share my screen. And then let me do this. Hopefully it will work. So bear with me. This has been running, it seems like, in the background. So Zoom doesn't want to do that. Okay. Share. I did test it, but it's okay. So here we go. Share. Okay. I'm assuming everybody can see that. So when I left here in December of last year with the goal to spend some time with my family. So these are just few pictures from my visit to the Emirates, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and I had to leave Abu Dhabi for a while to go to Cyprus so I can get an extension visa. So I'll share some of that, and then on the way back, Dana and I stopped in France. I won't take too much of your time, hopefully, but here's my share, because I've been promising. I spent a lot of time doing this. I played backgammon. This is my dad. He loves playing backgammon. He turned 88 when I was with him. So we looked forward to this time, and we always talked during that time and reminisced and so forth. That's the only one with people in it, only picture. This is, I wish that the thing is not sticking in the middle. Oh, here we go. This is the presidential castle in Abu Dhabi. It's breathtaking. And if you ever visit the Emirates, yeah, you can actually go in. It's a nominal fee, I think $25-30, and you can tour that. And it looks like something from Aladdin days with golden domes and so forth. Beautiful. And okay, this is a view from my parents' place. Abu Dhabi is an island, so it has a lot of water. You can see that the reflection in the middle. It's a very modern city. Most people who come into it, they just don't know what to expect, and it's just very, very beautiful. This is, hopefully you all know, it's the tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa, and I have a couple photos actually. Those buildings next to it are high rises. It's just mind-boggling when you go there, and you can go to the 164th floor, I think, is the 62nd, third, or fourth, and the elevator ride is mind-boggling. This is a view from above. Dubai is extremely modern and very crowded. It's like, I think the population fluctuates around 4 million to 6 million, depending on the tourist season and time of year. So this is just part of the freeway system, and I got lost on it a lot. I've always, it's weird. So if you ever visit and drive in Dubai, you'll notice that you have to take the left lane, and then turn right, and that's just too confusing. Okay, this is like two buildings together. Let me see what's going on here. See why. Okay, so this is another picture from the Burj Khalifa from the top. You can see the Persian Gulf. I don't want to move my mouse. Like the top right. And this, as I said, a lot of these buildings, if you have Apple and you see screensavers of Dubai, these are all high rises that just are dwarfed in comparison to Burj Khalifa. Now, if you have any questions about this stuff, you can drop it in. This is an interesting building in Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi built their convention center and they put a hotel in it. And if you see the curvature there, it's it leans more than the Pisa Tower. So it's an engineering miracle in a way, the way they built it, because the whole weight of the building is to the side, and yet it stands on its own. So they do a lot of like firsts when it comes to engineering and the Emirates. Let me continue this because I think it jumps sometimes when I go, okay. This one is, I was early morning going on a fishing trip. So this is taken from a boat. Dana pointed out that a lot of my pictures are not straight. So sometimes I'm on boats. But if you're a big fan of Tom Cruise movies, I think he filmed something where he jumps like between the buildings in a car. Just again, engineering wise, these buildings, if you see this, I'm going to use my mouse right here, how this building looks like it's leaning, and it looks leaning. So if you're in it, then nothing is like straightforward. Everything is kind of not find the right word, but this almost feels like it's twisted as a building. And going on. Okay, this is Cyprus. This is the, I think, Byzantine noted church from 890. The Church of Saint Lazarus. I'll let this roll. This is a different church in Cyprus. A lot of these go before the year 1000 AD. They have some, and this is, you're just driving and you see these things. This is an old, almost full ancient Roman city with the amphitheater, and now they use it actually for concerts. Beautiful views of the Mediterranean, as you can see. It's breathtaking. And then you leave that and you walk the other way, and you'll see homes of people. Some dude named Hercules, who was who was a gladiator and things like that. But if you're into history, Cyprus is very small, and you can see a lot of history. It's been that the city we stayed in is continuously used and as a city, like populated by humans for over 4,000 years continuously. So you see a lot of Ottoman stuff, Byzantine stuff, and you go all the way to Babylonian and Assyrian, and stuff from Libya. Their history museum, you walk through it, it looks so small, but if you stood and looked at every piece and thought about the hundreds of years or thousands of years it covers, you end up spending millennia really while walking like down two hallways. I think let me make sure I'm not skipping something. Yep, that's the Church of St. Lazarus, Greek Orthodox Church, and I think they have the ribs of Lazarus, supposedly, because the biblical story is he left um, Palestine after he was resurrected by Jesus, and ran away because he was afraid that they are going to kill him to kind of smother the miracle that Jesus performed. And then the Eiffel Tower, you know this. I thought it's a different perspective. This is the fountain in Versailles, and I think that's the last slide. So thank you for staying with me. Thank you for joining us on Wednesday. Your contributions are always appreciated. And for the few of you who do follow Rebecca, I spoke with her today. They are they're in need of prayer and support. So if you follow her on Facebook and so forth, you know that she is asking for help. So we're sending her a lot of prayers and love. Thank you again. I see something. Thank you for the pictures. You're very welcome. I've been promising to do it since I started speaking, because sometimes I have to get up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to do the sessions that I did while I was there. Luckily, Dr. Errico and Rebecca were very kind and covered for me when I couldn't. So really appreciate it. Jesus, love having you here. It seems like you're raising your hand. Thank you so much. I'm not seeing anything else coming in. Hopefully Dr. Eric will be feeling better next week and he'll do the session. And if not, I'll be more than happy to hang out with you on a Wednesday night. Take care. God bless.